So organisation and collaboration is one of the key ways that we really help that work. So having all of your content come into a central system, make it easy to get at, easy to view, easy to push onto other processes, being software based so you can just open a machine anywhere in your organisation just on a normal network and open the browser. You don't need to say, oh well, am I on the right kind of network lead? Have I got the right kind of licenses for this hardware? You can just do it. And so this makes life a lot easier. When it's easier to collaborate and when it's easier to trust a colleague to log something, do it effectively, and then review the results of that and go searching for that content and move that content into a media composer or send it to a Final Cut Pro machine, then life becomes a lot easier and you're helping kind of bring that complexity level down. And so now we begin to get just a tiny bit more salesy. So far it's been easy. You've had it easy. And only 3 of the questions that come in the test have gone by so far. So now I'm starting to talk about some of the actual products we use to make this happen. So at Cinegy, our tagline for our workflow suite is we do ingest to play out and everything in between. But what we're focusing on here today is that, again, back to that legacy video concept. And I want to talk about Cinegy Capture, our new product that we launched version 2 of at NAB, and Desktop, which is our tool for kind of seeing what on earth's gone on in your organization and bringing that all together and making it multiplayer. And how that can help organize this. So in Desktop, we can actually import content and bring in file-based assets very easily. But we have the ability to then bring in legacy video, and Desktop can bring in legacy video as well. And Capture is very much more focused around that third kind of legacy video that people tend to forget about when they talk about file-based workflow, which is live streams. You can't turn a video camera's lead out that you need to be working on while it's recording into a file in that camera because you need the file in your system. So Cinegy Capture is all about taking SDI leads or IP streams out of these cameras or out of anything that happens to come in as a stream and then turning that into to files and files you can work with and letting that blend seamlessly with assets that might have come in through a more traditional file-based means. So with Cinegy Capture, and we're showing this downstairs, you can take, in a studio, you could record 4 cameras into this system. And again, it's based on software. We're demonstrating it downstairs with the DVS card inside it for the SDI capture. But it's a software solution that makes it very easy to bring this content in and turn it into the MXF or MOV files you need to then help that legacy video and stream video blend into the file-based world that you're very likely to be working in. So with Capture, as I mentioned before, we introduced version 2 at NAB. We first kind of decided we were building this and finally moved to get this released because it's effectively the opposite of our playout servers that we build, which I'm not even slightly mentioning here today, except then. So we decided we were going to build this about a year ago, and so we prototyped it last summer. We released version 1 of it at the end of the year in October, November, and then we're very, very happy to release version 2 at NAB, where we added a collection of more features that make it more powerful and more interesting. And so now I'm going to say it's also showing here. So this is a software solution, and you don't need SDI hardware in there to play with it. You can use a number of different SDI cards. You can also use kind of file inputs and streaming inputs just to test it and work with it. And you're also very welcome and encouraged to go downstairs and take a CD where we will hand out a trial version of this, and you can put it on and see if it works and see if I'm lying to you. So that's where we are. But I'm going to kind of drill into just a couple of features on here to explain what makes it interesting and unique. So this is our main panel that we've designed to try and keep as simple as possible for operators to use. So the back-end server has been configured. It's had the right card put in it. It's set to the right TV format, and it's been configured by someone that kind of knows what they're doing, so it's got the right disks in it. But ultimately, the most of this interface is going to be used for people just saying, cool, I'm supposed to record this in an hour or now, or record the gang 4 things and record them. So we want to try and keep that interface as uncluttered as possible. So you can just look at the gallery view at the bottom there and pick from, I've only got 2 displayed there, and very stupidly when I made that screenshot, 1 was black. But you can view what's happening on multiple input ports just in this interface, and then you can shift select them and set them off going at once. Or you can highlight one and see it in a bigger view up there. You can check out the time code and see if you've got a time code problem because it's not syncing up. And then you can see the nice fuel gauge interface of kind of, okay, so I've been working all day and I'm in ingest operator, how much disk space have I got left? So we put the nice kind of fuel gauge. Well, I'm going to go to lunch. How's my fuel gauges looking? Am I going to run out of stuff while I'm gone? And so you can really see how the system's looking in there. But what's particularly interesting about this, and isn't apparent in here, is this is running in a browser. So we built this client interface to run in a browser, so it will run on a PC or a Mac. So one of the nice things about Cinegy Capture is it's just a service. So you can install a few of these services on one machine, put that in the back of a truck, and then anyone that's on the Wi-Fi hotspot or on the network you've built at a location that you've given permission to get onto can just browse to see what's happening on these recording boxes and set something going or stop something or update the schedule. So by building it like this, and we make it very easy to kind of say, yeah, well, you don't need to be in one place on the special network to make changes to this and see what's going on. You can do that in here, and so you can engage a real-time video stream into the browser to see, what is camera 3 doing on that stage, and has it got audio? Well, let's listen, and then if it's all working, we can record something. So that's one of the things about the interface, but now I'm going to make you look at boxes with text in and arrows, because I have to in my job as a product manager, so I'm going to make that share with you. But I'm going to use that to just highlight one of the really cool features we built into it, which is as a software encoding solution, and as Cinegy, we create some of our own codecs, and we make playout servers. So we were really excited to try and really mess with some interesting codec stuff. And we put some really nice features in version 2 that we launched at NAB. So this is kind of the traditional thing that we did when we launched version 1, which is we'd take an HD frame, we'd encode it to AVCI 100, we'd make it an AVID file, and then we'd send it out to the network. And that's cool. And there are products that do this, and there are other competitors to us that do this, and that's really interesting. But we weren't happy with that. We wanted to do a bit more. So we felt we needed branching arrows on our diagrams, and so we implemented them. So one of the things that's really interesting to do is we'll drop a couple more things in. So we'll put some timecode analysis and normalization in there. So if you get broken timecode coming in for whatever reason, which can be as simple as going past midnight, which does happen to us creative people when we're filming things past the witching hour, you can actually analyze that timecode and keep valid timecodes inside the files. Or if it's coming from a tape and it is film time of day, we can deal with that and do some nice things like scene detection. But then at the end, the interesting dual arrow thing, we realized that in the file-based world, one of the problems you get, if you're trying to bring a file in or transcode a file from ProRes so that the AVID could work with it, if it's not 5.5, then one of the problems is you set something copying and it says, oh yeah, 10 minutes to copy this really big file for 2 hours. And if that aborts halfway through, you're not left with an hour of video like you were if you'd been recording in. And yes, that was going to take you 2 hours to record it in, but at least you've got it in. If a file system, if it stops for whatever reason, you're really scuppered. And I witnessed this firsthand last year at Glastonbury when content was being brought in file-based, and then it gets all the way to the end, and the AVID says no. And you're like, oh, if that had come in from tape, at least I'd have known. At least I'd have known everything I'd got so far was there. So we identified this and went, well, what we really need to do and make sure is that as we're recording stuff, we can say, while it's recording, we might as well be trying to put it where it's supposed to be. So if we're trying to record if someone's saying, I need to put this on the network, well, if anyone's ever spent time on an OB, you'll know that the unity goes down when someone trips over the fiber that's running across between two vans, or when someone manages to, again, not fill the generator up with diesel, which it happens so scarily much you'd think it wouldn't, but it does. So, especially in these kind of environments, the network won't always be there. So one of the things we decided to do is say, well, our system doesn't need to always write to the network. It's not that hard to write to 2 places at once, or 3 places at once. So we can say, well, we just automatically write the local disk, and then, when Bob does trip over the fiber again, as he does every year, we can then fix that in half an hour, but we haven't stopped recording all the cameras, because that's kind of important. But it means that when everything is up and working, everything's in the right place at the right moment, and we just have to deal with it as an exception. So this was quite cool, and we liked this, and we were happy with this, but we thought, no, we need more. This box of highlighted redness we felt was ready for technical messing. And so, in the first releases, we were chasing OP Atom for AVID, so people could just use Cinegy Capture as an easy way to get content into an AVID. And we were like, yeah, well, we feel that we could do some more with just encoding AVCI 100, because we might not always want to work with that format. We might want to be doing a proxy as well. So we went, okay, well, let's split this. We can take this input, and it's just as easy, with our high-performance codecs and our experience of making multi-channel playout stuff in these machines, why not let a source get encoded to 2 or 3 or 4 sources at ingest, all in software? So we can say, yeah, here's the high-res that's going off here, and here's a proxy. So one of the scenarios I had someone literally say to me, well, what would be really cool is this box that was doing all the recording at this music event, if I could just put a memory stick in the front that while it was recording, it was just writing like an MP4 file on that memory stick, so that when the end of the show comes, and if you've ever witnessed the end of an event, everything's turned off in 10 minutes flat. People are like, no, we want to get the truck gone, we're going to hit overtime, we've got to be gone. So he said, well, I don't want to wait for an HD cam SR tape to dub and then get it made to a DVD so I can give it to my exec. I could just unplug the memory stick the second you hit stop on the cameras, and I've got all 4 of the streams on this stick in MP4 format, or on a pair of sticks. I can just hand them to my bosses. They're going to love me, and we're going to get home for tea quicker. So we built this, and we let this kind of build this encoder and send it wherever you want. But, again, because I like to just make my developers suffer, we decided we want to make it even more complicated with even more boxes. And so one of the things we introduced in version 2 is that we said, well, encoding an AVCI 100 frame can be a bit tricky. The computer's got to think quite a lot, and we're doing that. But, what if we've got a mixed environment where the main production are editing on Avid, but online are busy wanting to repurpose some stuff on Final Cut Pro because they love Final Cut Pro, or the promos department that need to make the trail are on Final Cut Pro. So we said, well, actually, it's really not that hard. It's only going to take us a couple of CPU points to say, well, if we're writing into 2 places, we might as well say, well, why does the second place have to have it written in an MXF file? Why couldn't we do it in a QuickTime file as well? So we kind of ran with that. So now you can set up this exact setting where you'd say, yeah, cool, on AVCI, going into my MXF for my archive or for my Avids that are editing, and then that will go straight into Unity, and then I'll put a FireWire drive into this machine as well, and say, yeah, we'll just get a dump of everything that's happening into QuickTime as well. So, at lunchtime, I'll unplug that lacy, switch it over, and take that over to the promos guys, and they're like, yay, cool, we didn't have to wait for stuff to transcode, or wait for someone to send an SR deck over and let them ingest stuff that the Avid guys, gave them and played out or rendered. They can just work with that straight away. So we baked that technology straight into our version 2 product. So you can say, yeah, this is what I'm coming in. I need these encodes. I need to go to these types of places, and I need to go to these locations. And that is something we're really happy with. We think it's really unique. And also marks a really important moment in your lives, which is the end of my slides, except for this one, saying that you might just want to see it and then subliminally buy it. So I'd like to thank you for listening. I recommend you do come downstairs and see me or my colleague Troy and take one of our lovely CDs where we are very happy to give away this software and say, try it, prove it, see it works, check that we're not just full of hot air, put it on a machine at home this evening if you're really excited like that, and then let us know how you get on. So thanks ever so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of the show.